What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got a new keyword skill coming to the Digimon trading card game. And when I say we've got a new keyword skill coming, I mean we have essentially been told the name of a new keyword skill, but we seem to have no idea of what this actually does. So it's time for a little bit of reckless speculation, some ideas as to how it might work, what might happen, etc. Please just do remember, and this is extremely important here, what we're talking about is an idea, is prediction, is speculation. We know this new keyword skill is coming, but we do not, and this is incredibly important, we do not have a confirmed look at exactly what this is and exactly how it will work, which is not a problem. But do please bear in mind, we are not going through officially announced things here. We are going through, hey, we've got some ideas. Let's see how it might work. Now, when I look at delay, the very first thing that comes to my mind is advance. Because, of course, we just got a new keyword skill in BT5, Battle of Omega. That was advance. We saw it on a bunch of Digimon, but Omnimon would be one I particularly point out here. And advance says that this Digimon can attack even when your opponent has one or more memory, i.e., and it's a Digivolution skill, it only works on Digivolution. So essentially, the way this works is you Digivolve up, and even if the memory would go to your opponent, you're still allowed to attack. Although remember, we looked at the FAQ over the weekend, or at the end of last week. This is only if you would be able to attack normally, i.e. if you've only played the Digimon that turn, if it's suspended, etc. Although, to be fair, Omnimon does actually unsuspend, so it gets around that last one. You're not allowed to attack, but if you would be able to attack if you had the memory, this lets you attack even though you don't have the memory. So, maybe we've got something here which is the opposite of that. Maybe if advance is, you can attack even when you've got the memory. Delay would be your opponent's Digimon cannot attack even if they do have the memory. So it's some kind of skill whereby you get to choose one of your opponent's Digimon, and if they Digivolve, they are not allowed to attack this turn. And honestly, this is probably my leading theory here. A skill that stops your opponent attacking if they Digivolve. Now, of course, we've seen cards in the past and we've seen skills that would actually stop you attacking. Something like Sorrow Blue came right out in the starter deck, which just lets you choose a Digimon with no Digivolution sources and stop it attacking or blocking until the end of their next turn. Or we could look at Rafflezimon from the new set in Japan, whereby on your turn, when one of your Digimon uses Digiburst, you get to choose one of your opponent's Digimon and they cannot attack or block until the end of their opponent's next turn. This could be that with a different name, bearing in mind Advance is not exactly the same, but Advance looks very, very similar to a skill that we actually had on one of the Chaosmon before Advance was a thing. So if we look at just regular Chaosmon, when you Digivolve, you unsuspend it, and this Digimon can attack an opponent's Digimon and target an unsuspended Digimon, but we had it ruled that that could attack even if the turn should move over to your opponent. Now it can attack unsuspended Digimon, which is cool, but that was very, very similar to Advance. It just didn't have the name Advance. Well, could this be a similar kind of thing here? It's one of those skills that stops you attacking or blocking until the end of next turn. We're just now putting a name on it? It could. We have had this happen in the past, and we've seen this happen in other card games as well. Something that one or two cards do occasionally all of a sudden becomes a keyword skill, and it gets ratified, and then there's a whole bunch of awkward things because there are cards that refer to Advance, but Advance doesn't work with Chaosmon. So Shoutmon, for instance, gives a Digimon an extra 2,000 power if they have Advance, but it wouldn't work on something like Chaosmon, although Chaosmon doesn't evolve from red, but it's just a little example of the kind of thing that can happen if you ain't careful. So something like that would work. I quite like the idea of it being a skill that stops you attacking if you evolve, because then you basically say to your opponent, look, I'm targeting a weak Digimon here, you can still attack, But if you do, you're far more likely to actually get deleted by a security card, or you can wait a turn. Either way, we're good. Or you can Digivolve up, and I know you want to Digivolve up, but if you Digivolve up to get a skill or whatever, or just some extra power to protect yourself, you're then not able to attack. I like that as a little bit of an idea. Not sure if it's going to work, but I like it. Another thing that I've seen here suggested is it could potentially be an option card that works on your opponent's turn. Now, this is a new keyword skill. I've seen a couple of people suggest that this wouldn't work for that reason, but you can have keyword skills on option cards. So I see no reason why this wouldn't work. And what you would essentially have here is an option card that would activate if particular things actually happened. So Holy Wave is a 6-cost option card that gives you recovery +1. Maybe we could have something like a 3-cost option card that gives you recovery +1 delay if your opponent takes or removes one of your security. I.e., if you play Holy Wave for a 6-cost, you always get a security card back. Whereas if you play this new card, you get a security back, but only to replace one that was trashed during your opponent's turn. So it's a cheaper card, but you only get the effect if a certain thing happens. I could definitely see this. And the interesting thing is, we've seen this kind of thing in other card games before. Now, there's one card game that I used to cover voraciously on this particular channel, which unfortunately did go away. A lot of people like to come up with all kinds of conspiracy theories, but it just didn't sell well enough. The Transformers trading card game. And I keep seeing things like, well, if they'd have advertised it more, it would have sold better. And of course it would have done. But the problem is that if you do that, then the bar you need to hit to make the game viable moving forward also raises. And Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast, who own the game, had enough information to know that it was very unlikely, unfortunately, that it was going to survive. Great game, absolutely loved it, went by the wayside. But they had these cards which worked pretty much like I'm suggesting here. So let's take a look at Even the Score. I exclusively revealed this card. I showed this card off. That's another reason I miss Transformers. I used to love getting official reveals. It made me so happy. Come on, Digimon. But Even the Score was a secret action, and secret actions, you would play the card face down, and at the end of your opponent's turn, it went into your scrap pile. But if one of your Decepticons took more than enough damage to be KO'd, then the card would activate, it would be revealed, and when it was revealed, you did the extra attack damage to the attacker. So if they did 12 but they only needed to do 4, you would do 8 damage back to them. It was a cool card, and double orange icon is always a good thing. So maybe we could have something like that, although the delay mechanic, one of the things about covert actions or secret actions were that they would essentially be a secret. You'd know your opponent had played one, but you would have to try and deduce which one they'd actually played. Whereas here, I think the way the game works is you would kind of know. So that to me again seems like a pretty sensible suggestion. An option card that activates if your opponent does a particular thing on their turn. Or we could just have a similar thing with abilities. You know, we've seen all kinds of things like Syakamon in the new set that stops you reducing Digivolution costs. There are 3 cards that do it. But this is a weird little dog thing and a weird little clam thing. What am I going to do? Not choose that one. And essentially, you can have a similar thing here where if your opponent tries to reduce the cost, you get to draw 2 or something like that. Or it could be more straightforward and it could literally just delay evolution. Choose one of your opponent's Digimon. That Digimon cannot Digivolve until the end of your opponent's next turn. So you essentially pick a Digimon and for an entire one of your opponent's turns, that Digimon is not allowed to Digivolve. That would also work quite nicely. The answer is we don't know, but as far as I'm concerned, there are 3 leading options. I've had a good think, by the way. I like these options, but I would genuinely love to hear from you guys in the comment section because there's probably things that I've missed or not thought of, and I want to hear from you guys. That would be awesome. But essentially, my 3 leading suggestions are, as I've said. Firstly, stop a Digimon attacking until the end of, for a turn, basically. maybe Link to Evolution, maybe not. Option cards or abilities that activate during your opponent's turn, that activate later. Bearing in mind, delay basically means a period of time has got to pass, so that seems sensible to me. Or just delaying your opponent's evolution. Picking a particular Digimon and saying it can't Digivolve next turn. Imagine seeing your opponent with a level 6 red Digimon and then being able to turn around to them and just go, oh yeah, by the way, you can't Digivolve that into Omnimon until the end of your next turn. So I know I've got a guaranteed turn where even if you've got Omnimon, you're not allowed to play it and use that ridiculous skill that will delete all my Digimon. Tell me that doesn't sound like fun, ladies and gentlemen. Because I think it really does. But also, I want your predictions, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching WasiPlays.